Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Tea Time with Sahdi and Omni, where we spill the tea and drink the tea. I'm Omni.
And I'm Sahdi.
And today we're drinking some spirit tea, which has mugwort, lemon balm, blue lotus, sage, and dandelion root. It's tasty. The tea was inspired because one of the subjects we're talking about is how I just legally changed my name. Woo. So I talked about this on Lionsgate briefly, where my legal birth name is not Omni. And before we started the podcast, Lionsgate, probably 2+ years ago, I was asking Sahdi about her spiritual name. And she told me to just meditate on it. And so I did. I took a big spiritual bath, did a meditation, came back out with the name Omni, very clear and loud in my head. And I remember messaging Sahdi. I'm like, have you ever heard this name? Like, is this Thor or something? And I'm just being stupid. Is this a really common name? And she's like, no, I don't believe so. It's funny because I didn't even look into the meaning of it. I just knew it was my name. So I went with it and my friends started calling me Omni. I have never resonated with my birth name. I've always changed the spelling of it. I've always gone by my initials when I was married. Just never resonated with it. And so I finally decided that after we took our New Orleans trip that I'm going to do this legally. I changed my last name legally when I got married. You know, there's a big energy change in that. And I think people really acknowledge it. It's so common in society for them to acknowledge it when a woman takes on a man's name. But when a woman wants to change her name to be more herself, it's kind of looked at as taboo in a way. It's kind of weird because people are like, oh, is that your given name? No, it is the name I
Right.
claim.
And it seems like people have an easier time comprehending it when somebody's transgender
Exactly.
and they want to change their name. I feel like that's accepted, but it's a little bit taboo when somebody wants to change their name for a spiritual reason.
And it's funny because I just waited on a couple today and they were like, what is your name again? And I said, Omni. And I've waited on them for almost 2 years. She goes, maybe we just never asked you your name because I would have remembered that. That is your birth name? That's the name your parents gave you? And I said, no, it is my chosen name.
Right.
And they almost acted like I was disrespecting my parents in some way. But if my kid ever lied to me, and was like, hey, actually, one of my kids did come to me and say that she figured out her spirit name. And I was like, that's beautiful. If you ever want to change that legally, take on that.
I think it's beautiful too because of so many transgenders changing their names right now. It's become more normalized in society.
Yeah. I can't tell you how loved I feel when all the people that used to call me by my birth name take the time and effort to call me by my chosen name. And I can only imagine how it would feel to somebody who is transgender. I'm feeling a fraction of what I'm sure they feel when you call them by their chosen name. The first time I remember my manager looked at me, I had told him like, hey, I'm going to change my name to Omni legally. So it'll be in the system, all of that. And I want you guys to all start switching and call me that. And I remember that same day, he went over, figured out how I can change it in the system before I legally started the process because I was waiting till after our trip. And he called me Omni immediately that day.
Well, that's really validating.
I teared up. He didn't know what to do with those emotions. I was like, sorry, but it was the first time that somebody who didn't already call me, like you've always called me Omni since I figured out my spiritual name. And I've had close friends call me Omni, but this is the first time somebody that's known me as my birth name called me that. And it was like,
that's really powerful.
Yeah, it's powerful. The energetic change. And especially when I feel that when it's something spiritual too, connected to it, that it does level you up.
It does.
And I love that.
You embody the name. There are so many different religions and stuff like that actually do that. Nuns will change their name.
Yeah.
In some of the sisterhoods, they take on the names of saints. But in some of them, they let you meditate or pray on what you want to change your name to. And it can be anything. So they're finding their spiritual name and changing it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so many different practices, they do that. But yeah, how fucking rude is it for people to ask you, is that your birth name? And be like, that's none of your business.
Right?
It really isn't.
When I went by my initials, I went by AC for a long time when I was married. I did stand up for a while. That was my stage name. Everybody would always be like, what's that stand for? None of your business. Air conditioner? I would make up shit, or I'd say, what's your social security number? And I'll tell you.
Right.
How does that feel? You don't need to know that.
I mean, unless it's out of curiosity, because that's different. And you can feel the difference when people do that.
Yes, that's where I'm at. Like some people feel entitled to know and other people are just curious. And I'm a curious creature. I ask all.
Yeah, like where did that name come from? Did your parents name you that? Were they hippies?
Yeah,
Like,
and my
what's
parents
that?
were hippies.
And that's okay when you're growing spiritually to outgrow a name.
Yeah.
And actors and actresses do it. They change their names, and people that take on different identities and different vibrations. And like you said, leveling up, and you're just not resonating with the name that you were born with.
Right.
There's a lot of people that have a hard time with that. Yeah. They just don't understand it.
They look at it as like disrespectful to your parents, but your parents name you before they even know you. I had a name picked out for one of my kids before she was ever even a glimmer in my eye. And we all do that. We think, oh, my first kid's going to be named this. I think that's beautiful while you raise them. But when they're off and adults on their own, let them fly.
Yeah. You can be whoever you want to be at any time you want to in your life.
Exactly.
So that's what's been going on with Omni. So what's been going on with me is I recently quit my job. I've been a waitress for over 25 years, and I absolutely love it. Me being a waitress helped me raise my kids.
Yeah.
Have a flexible schedule, and I really love being around people and the energy, and I'm an extrovert. So I thrived doing that. The more connected I get with my spirit, the less it resonates with me.
Yeah.
I want to spend the rest of my life on working with my soul mission in alignment with that. And my soul mission is to build a tribe and build a community and help people on their spiritual path. When I first started my journey, there was no one around to help me. I would read books and things like that, but nothing came close. And I really yearned for that. Like, I really wanted to meet somebody that had been through my experience and that was spiritual, that could help guide me through it. Everywhere I looked, everybody was just not what I was needing.
Right.
I feel like I've been on the journey for a really long time, and I have a lot of wisdom and guidance to help people on their journey along the way. That's what I want to devote my life to. And it's a little bit scary because I put a lot of effort into my job.
Yeah.
And I just woke up and realized one day that I'm draining my energy into something that I'm not resonating with anymore. Yeah, we're doing a lot of new things with the podcast, and we're going to be doing Witchy Wednesdays and doing live reading.
Yeah.
And I really just want to transcend into the highest version of myself and pour all of that energy that I was leaking other places back into myself.
And I will say, as one of your besties, is watching you live in this decision and in this power is not only motivating, but inspiring to watch. And you're a badass no matter what. But this right here, to see you so motivated and driven and like, no, I'm doing this, manifesting, is really inspiring.
Once I made that decision, it's so crazy, you guys, when you decide that nothing else matters except for your dream and your vision, everything starts falling into place. And all that fear that I had for so long that, oh, it's not going to work out, or I don't know if I can do this. And that full moment where you're about to embark on a new journey. And it's scary, but it's so exciting. And I just have to trust the universe. I have to practice what I preach. I feel like I'm divinely guided in this. I decided to do a few things different, just to let you guys know. My prices were a little high before because when I was doing readings, I didn't have a time limit. So I would give one flat price and I would go until spirit was done working through me.
I can preach to that.
Yeah, and I really love that about my style of reading, but it was a little bit more than a lot of people could afford. Sometimes my readings will go from maybe an hour, maybe 3 hours. Maybe going into past lives and really, really deep. And I didn't want to let somebody go until they were fully satisfied and they felt spiritually full and their questions were answered. But I've changed a few things. I've lowered my prices, and I do have a time limit now. So you can pick if you want 30 minutes or an hour. It's going to make me be more accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
I'm really putting myself out there in that aspect because it's not really about the money for me. It's about the energy exchange, and I want to help more people.
Exactly. We're going to be doing the Witchy Wednesdays, which are going to be on 8 o'clock on Wednesdays. We're going live, and Sahdi's going to be doing quick readings, and I'm going to be doing quick readings.
Yeah, No, she's really good, you guys. She's given me readings, and I've watched her grow so much over the last couple years. She's ready. And the energy and the dynamic between both of us, you've got Omni coming from her vibration and me coming from another vibration. We're going to tag team, you guys.
We will tag team up again.
So yeah, we're going to go live. Just tune in and we'll try to get as many people as we can a reading in an hour.
Yeah, we're going on TikTok and on our Instagram. And we're going to go through Lionsgate. So find us on Sahdi Omni on TikTok or Lionsgate Podcast on Instagram.
Right.
I've always been the pusher where I push Sahdi out of her comfort zone. She's pushing me out of my comfort zone. So we're leveling each other up.
We're excited about
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm nervous, but I'm going to do it anyways. We had a friend that actually had a dream about this. Shout out to Crystal, because our mutual friend that we both worked with said she had a dream that we were giving her a joint reading.
And at first I was like, that must be nice. Yeah. And then I was like, wait, man, imagine if we both did readings together for one person.
Yeah.
And focused both of our energies on a reading.
Yeah.
I'm like, that would be fucking amazing.
Yeah. And another thing that I felt called to do, which I've had a bag of runes on my altar for probably 2 years now, honestly, since the beginning of this. And I've never really dived into it. And I think that's something I want to start practicing. And so maybe when you guys join the lives here in the next few weeks, I'll start bringing that bag of runes out and see what I get from it too. So just incorporating oracle decks, tarot deck, and some runes and some bones. We'll see.
Oh, yeah, we should definitely. Oh, and questions with tea time. Oh, you guys need to be writing in and asking us questions because we will answer them.
Speaking of, we did have somebody write in, Miss Shelley. She said, I'm so happy you two are back. Thank you. I will tell you, there's nothing more fulfilling on a soul level than when somebody says that we touch them. Oh, wait, that sounds bad. You know what I mean? Spiritually, motherfucker.
Right. Yeah, and we do want to touch you more. Like, but we want to be more interactive,
yeah,
and engaged with our community, with our tribe.
Exactly. And we'll go outside of our comfort zone.
Yep. Ask us anything. Well,
Really?
I mean, really, there's nothing that's too taboo
Yeah.
for us to answer on tea time.
Yeah.
We might not do a whole episode about it, but we will address you on tea time.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is about. She said, thank you for being so transparent. Thank you. I enjoyed the spinoff. I love that you guys are doing questions. And as someone who is concerned with the incoming POTUS, I don't know, it's made me do a lot of soul searching and second guessing. I was just wondering if you have advice to anyone like me who is pretty concerned. I am not going to sit here and pretend as a woman in America, I'm not concerned. I have 2 daughters, and her asked what advice I would have to any of my fellow spiritual people that are dealing with being terrified in America right now. My advice would be to focus on the things that you can control.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But you can control yourself and your thought patterns. And the way I look at it as this could really bring us together even closer than we were before, because now we're not divided by other things like race and religion, because we're a whole community of people. And it's not just affecting men or women or transgender, it's affecting us as a whole. Really coming together could actually bring about change. Now it's the time to protect ourselves and our community. And diamonds are formed under pressure. Sometimes you look back and you're like, well, that had to happen for it to change.
Yeah.
And that's with everything, like in relationships. And you have these tower moments. We have these things and we're like, oh my God, this is horrible. Like, I'm a nervous wreck. I don't know how I'm going to live like this. You know, you're freaking out and you're having a complete meltdown. And then a year later, you look back and you're like, oh my God, I'm so glad that that happened to me, because I've advanced, I've leveled up, I've grown. I would suggest try not to live in fear.
Yeah.
Live in your power.
Yes.
And live in your divinity. All you can do is better yourself. And the more you better yourself, you're healing your family trauma and you're doing all this spiritual work and stuff like that. You're healing your mother, you're healing your daughter, you're healing future generations.
Could you imagine if Trump had spiritual parents?
Can you imagine if he took ayahuasca?
Yeah.
Some DMT, some fucking like psilocybin, went on some spiritual shamanic journey. I honestly believe that anybody who's in power like that should have to go through some kind of shamanic journey to connect with the people and with the universe before they even can be thought about.
When somebody becomes chief, they have to do
Oh my
that.
God, I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that. I'm like, what if
It
we had an
always
American Indian representing America?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be beautiful?
Wouldn't that be like how it should have been in the first place?
Exactly. But right. Hitler. So we talked about that too a little bit. Like, what if he would have gone in the other direction?
Yeah, if Hitler had spiritual parents, maybe he would have been a big cult leader, but it was a cool cult with no Kool-Aid. I'm down.
Right.
I think definitely don't live in fear. Fear is probably one of the lowest vibrational feelings because it feeds into hate.
It does.
And
Separation, pointing the finger at other people, that branches out from into your family and then to your neighborhood and then your community and like,
yeah,
and then it's like, oh, this is my country and your country. It just feeds into all that bullshit. Acknowledge your fear, sit with it, resonate with it,
work on it.
do some shadow work. I love you. And then elevate above the storm. Elevate your energy and your mind and your body and your soul.
And believe the universe has you. Because when you're sitting there and living in fear, you're manifesting fear.
Right. And you're putting fear out into the universe, you guys.
Yes.
You're like, oh, this bad thing might happen and that bad thing might happen.
You manifest
and you're
it.
manifesting it.
Yeah.
And when you get a big group of people that are all sitting in fear and manifesting, oh my God, what if this happens? Or how horrible it could be. You're actually adding to the problem.
Yeah.
So it's okay to sit with that fear and then just be like, okay, well, I don't want to manifest any more fear. What can I put out? Send love and light, send healing energy to the universe.
Oh, so start a gratitude journal too.
Exactly.
I've been doing that and it's been amazing.
I don't know, you guys plant a garden, do whatever's within your means to elevate over
the fear.
Yeah, the fear.
Yeah, and do what you can.
It's valid to be afraid. It's valid to be scared. There's a lot of fucking scary shit out there.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to devalue that, but okay, I'm scared. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
You can't just stay in that vibration.
Right. You have to raise it.
Mm-hmm.
The gratitude journal helps me because it helps remind me, like I was sick the other day with a kidney infection. It was stupid, but I put in my gratitude journal, I'm grateful for my health, for every day I wake up not in pain, because it's really easy to take that for granted until it's taken away.
And every minute my body is working to heal me.
Yeah.
Things like that. Every molecule in my body knows exactly what to do. It's perfect. It's divine. You tell yourself that.
Yeah. And speak it out loud because words have power. Something that Sahdi had mentioned to one of our friends that I think we should share. I caught her into sending voice clips. And she says, send a voice clip to yourself and then re-listen to it. Because when you hear it from your own voice, it's going to resonate with you.
Yeah, do it when you're in power.
Yeah.
You're really in your power about something, send yourself a voice clip and be like, you're a bad bitch and you don't need to take that shit and you're going to set these boundaries. Or whatever you're feeling at the time. And then when you're feeling low, play that back to yourself.
Listen to it.
For real. Because your brain accepts your voice as truth.
Oh, yeah.
So you can be listening to me all day or guided meditation, but when you hear it back in your own voice, your brain doesn't have filter on it. So it doesn't filter out, oh, this might be true, it might not be. It's just divine connection to the brain and the subconscious.
Which I thought was such great advice. So that fucking do that shit. Fuck yeah. I'm going to send myself all the voice clips.
I need them putting affirmations on her mirror. Yeah. With a dry erase marker.
Yes.
Because we've been doing sticky notes, but keep a dry erase marker and write shit on your mirror.
Yeah, I did a reading for myself and I had some positive affirmations in that reading. And so I wrote them on my mirror. So I will look at it.
Oh, do you want to tell them about when you fucked up and you wrote, oh my God. Okay, you guys, we got to tell you this real quick. So, okay, I want to start.
You do it.
Okay, so, so I had a trip. And it's legal here, by the way. We're in Oregon.
On a little rocket.
Yeah, like a little rocket ship. And I had a really intense trip where I was learning how to use all energy and alchemy. And so I won't get too in depth in that.
Just explain what alchemy is real quick.
Emotional alchemy is where you take energy and you transmute it. You can take negative energy and transmute it into positive, or like a negative thought. And then you take that thought and you transcend it into something that's positive.
Yeah.
I was telling Omni about this and I'm like, when we used to put people in the freezer and we used to block energy and block people and all that, I'm like, dude, I learned you can just take that energy and once they give it to you, you're like, okay, thank you. Even if it's hate, right? Even if it's something negative, like you're a bitch or whatever. I'm like, oh, thank you. Give me that energy because now you willingly gave over a part of your energy to me. And I can do whatever the fuck I want with it.
Exactly.
I can turn it into love. I can turn it into $1 million, bitch.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want with it. I was explaining all of this to Omni because I was so excited about it. And I broke through a level and a barrier. And I was like, yeah, give me any energy. And so now you take it from here.
Of course, I got excited and I was like, fuck yeah. And I wrote on my mirror, I accept all energy as a form of currency. And man, did I have a day.
Dude, anything bad that could have happened to a human happened to her that day. Like,
it was just like,
she was crying in the middle of the day, in the morning even.
yeah.
And so many bad things were happening to her.
I had looked in the mirror. I was like, oh my God. And I erased it. And then Sahdi sent me the message and goes, erase that shit off your mirror now. I was like, I already.
Yeah, I was like, dude.
And then I put on there, I was like, I am a ball of light and only good things happen to me. And literally,
She was traumatized.
yeah, within the next 10 minutes.
I think you have to be ready.
Yeah, I wasn't ready. And
You have to be
I
ready
knew that
to
shit.
do that.
You
And
remember I put that cursing jar and then it got broken. Well, I didn't break my ankles, but it felt like I did. I had to crawl to my car that night.
yeah, so yeah, immediately, like after she erased that and put the new message on there, everything fell back into place that fell apart earlier.
Within 15 minutes.
Within 15 minutes.
Yeah. I got a message that the two of the things that I was stressed out about were fixed just instantly. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. So if you're going to be doing emotional alchemy,
slow down. Learn how to walk before you fucking run.
Take a trip with me. I'll walk you through all the details first, and then you can become a master of that and then welcome in the negative energy. But yeah, she was just like, hell yeah, I'm gonna do that shit. And I was like, no idea.
Thing face first.
Yeah, but we had to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, and you guys can learn through me. I do all the
And it was
shit.
like you open the floodgate to all the energy. And if you're not ready to use alchemy and transform it, yeah, you can get overwhelmed and drown.
For sure.
So be careful with that.
Yeah.
But I was really excited about finding out that I could literally do that. And I'm like, okay, throw hate my way. Go for it. Like, I'm just going to catch it.
Well, and I watched some videos on it too, where this girl's like, anytime you're mad, and she made this bottle of glittery water that was really pretty and red. She was, anytime you're mad, focus your energy on this water, shake it up. And then she basically used it as dragon's blood. Dragon's blood, anytime you use that in any kind of spell, it just enhances the power to it. And so she would just charge this water up with anytime she was angry. And then if she wanted to do any baneful magic, she would pour a little bit on there. And I'm like, that's alchemy.
Yeah.
I knew I had that in my head for like a year now. And then she's talking about it. I get pumped up and I just, I learned a hard lesson. But I mean, that's the way
Omni, you keep learning your lessons the hard way.
It's okay. Some people have to learn the hard way. You guys can learn.
But it's okay. At least you realized it and you only had one bad day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So,
and it was really just a half day because I deleted it in between jobs.
Right. And then it also kind of goes to show that we manifest our reality.
Oh, yeah. I was re-listening to one of the episodes on Lionsgate, and we put so much time and energy into each of those episodes researching one subject. By the time I'm done editing them, I'm like, I don't want to hear my voice again for another 100 years. But it takes a while for me to go back and re-listen. And when I go back and re-listen, I'm always like, oh, yeah, I fucking forgot about that. And one of the things was the sticky notes on your mirror or a dry erase marker. And I was like, that's why that dry erase marker is by my mirror. I fucking forgot. So I wrote an affirmation on there, and my daughters came down to my room, and my daughter was like, Mom, did you write that? I said, yeah, they're affirmations, because that's where I sit and get ready. And she's like, oh, that's cool. And then she writes on there, you're the best mom ever. And then my other daughter goes down there and she does the same thing and writes something else sweet. Being a mom is a big part of my journey on this earth this time round. And I feel that calling. I felt it since I was a little girl. For them to validate me is always.
And then what you're showing them.
Yes.
You're showing them how to love themselves.
Yes. All right. Well, I think that's all the tea for tea time. So make sure you tune in to Tuesday Tea Time with Sahdi and Omni next week. And as always, remember to keep your minds open.
Namaste, bitches.